Gather round me, people. I got a story I got to tell. Before I get to happily ever after, I have to tell you about my week in hell. It was the month of June. The year was 1981. My grandma had just passed away. My parents and younger siblings had to go to Arizona to say their last goodbyes. The girl who was my steady was on vacation with the family that week. She had to leave me at the very worst time. A perfect storm was brewing. The clouds had been building all week. We got invited to a party. My buddy just turned 17. Some of my other buddies and I decided to go and make the scene. A bunch of my other friends were there. It had the makings of an exciting night. I'd spent the preceding week hanging out with my buddies, just drinking the nights away, trying to numb the pain I was going through, trying to find a little comfort from the bottles of red, white, and blue. We were just a bunch of kids back then, living out our teenage dreams. We were just a bunch of greasers, breaking every rule, but I'll never forget the night I went to bed. A teenager in love, but woke up a poor little fool. By the time we got to the party, the beer I'd been drinking all day had its desired effect. Was feeling no pain when I got there, but by the time I left, I'd become a total wreck. You see, I ended up making out with a girl who wasn't my own. When she asked me, "What about your girlfriend?" that question pierced right through my heart of stone. As the guilt of my transgression hit me, the pain hurt me to my soul. Would my girlfriend ever forgive me, or did I just throw away a wonderful thing? Those were the thoughts that rushed through my mind as I wondered what tomorrow would bring. We were just a bunch of kids back then, living out our teenage dreams. We were just a group of greasers, breaking every rule. I'll never forget the night I went to bed. A teenager in love, but woke up a poor little fool. It's a complicated story, you see, but all ended up pretty well. A happy ending for many of us, that much I can tell. But I guess I'll have to leave you hanging upon this little hook. Guess I'll have to write a part two in order to tell the whole story. I'm gonna have to write a book. We were just a bunch of kids back then, living out our teenage dream. We were just a group of greasers, breaking every rule. I'll never forget the night I went to bed. A teenager in love, but woke up a poor little fool. Teenager in love. Ladies and gentlemen, I began to tell my story in the song My Week in Hell Part 1. Because every story needs to be understood in its proper context. I will be writing a series of songs that will give context to what transpired in June of 1981 and led to my week in hell. Before I finish telling that story, I want to go back to the beginning of my determination to be a greaser and what being a greaser meant to me. So I'm going back to December of 1974 and the true story of how I determined that's what I wanted to be. Duplicates, are you with me, boys? We're with you, little D. Then let's get this show on the road. This is the story of how I made up my mind when he decided what he wanted to be. It was a few days after Christmas in 1974. Dave had just turned 11 years old. It was a dark and snowy December night. As I remember, it was pretty cold. My grandmother and her companion were visiting. They brought us our Christmas gifts. My little brother Jeff and I decided we wanted to go outside to play with the walkie-talkies our folks bought us for gifts for Christmas. And as we were standing on the sidewalk in front of our house, Dave told Jeff to walk up to the corner. We wanted to see the walkie-talkies range as Jeff started walking away. Dave turned around and this is what he saw. There were 3 or 4 guys walking down the middle of the street. They wore black leather jackets and had greased back hair. Yes, they had slick back hair, and I remember I thought they looked pretty cool. With their cuffed blue jeans and the black desert boots. That was the standard greaser gear. I watched in awe at the sight I saw as they walked right past him that night. But the funniest thing happened later when I gave my grandma a fright. This was at the height of the hippie movement, when guys looked more like girls. But these guys look like real men, the way they carried themselves. Not like those guys who had hairstyles just like the girl. As I watched them walk past me and disappear into the darkness of the night, I had made up my mind right then. He wanted to be just like them. When I would grow up and be in my teens, there were 3 or 4 guys walking down the middle of the street. They wore black leather jackets and had greased back hair. Yes, they had slick back hair, and I remember I thought they looked pretty cool. With their cuffed blue jeans and the black desert boots. That was the standard greaser gear. I watched in awe at the sight I saw as they walked right past him that night. But the funniest thing happened later when I gave my grandma a fright. A little while later, their folks told them it was time to come inside, and so went in to visit with our grandma before they had to leave. As we settled on the living room floor and sat down by her feet, she asked me a question she probably came to regret. She said, when you get older, what do you want to be? Without any hesitation and a look as serious as could be, I said, I'm gonna be a greaser. That's what he wanted to be. I'll never forget the look of horror that came upon her face. She looked at my dad and said, Bobby, you better put him in his place. She said, if you don't nip that in the bud, you'll live to regret it. A very strange look swept across his face after hearing what she had to say. He had a worried look on his face as he looked me in the eyes. Thinking back, I don't ever remember seeing my dad look scared before, but he sure was taken back that night. As for what my grandma told him, she was right. Well, that's really well the story begins, and before the Lord, these stories are true. Find out what happened next when I finish writing part 2. Do-wop-diddy, do-wop-wah, do-wop-diddy. A future rebel was born that night, all because of what he saw. because of what he saw. All because of what he saw. Hey! Do-wop-dee. A future rebel was born that night. All because of what he saw.